Internet Explorer recently found something strange in space that might put our star and the whole solar system at risk. People say that Betelgeuse, a very large star, is about to explode in a supernova. What will happen to our planet then? What does the world need to know? Let's find out. The James Webb Space Telescope saves the day once more by showing that Betelgeuse, a huge star, is about to blow up in a big way. Because Betelgeuse is so close to Earth, its supernova will be bright enough to see during the day for weeks. It all began with the strange events of 2019. Betelgeuse, a star that was about to die, started dimming all of a sudden, leading to ideas that a supernova was about to happen. Even though its brightness changes from time to time, Betelgeuse is thought to be the 10th biggest star in the night sky. It's not hard to see why, as the star is very big. It's one of the closest stars to Earth, only 650 light-years away. It's thought to be about 8 to 10 million years old. At this speed, light takes 650 years to reach us. Both professional and amateur scientists like this fact a lot. This Orion red giant star has pushed to become the second brightest star, just behind Rigel, the brightest blue star. However, Betelgeuse, the most well-known and interesting star, has been acting very strangely for the past few years. The star's light has dropped a lot, which scientists first noticed in 2019. People think that it is about to burst in the form of a supernova because of this change. Scientists also said that the star had partly exploded and lost a lot of its surface that could be seen. It is also said to have less fuel in its heart than it did 300 years ago. The star's core will fall into a black hole when it burns through those last few drops. This will blast off the star's outer layers at speeds of up to 25,000 meters per second. The name for this fiery death is a supernova explosion. For Betelgeuse, it is said that it will be a beautiful sight for people on Earth to see. This is Betelgeuse, a huge, bright star that has used up all of its hydrogen fuel in its heart. Helium is now being fused into heavier elements. It is impossible to miss the point in a star's life when it runs out of gas. Stars that don't have enough hydrogen have to use extra energy to ignite the helium that is made when hydrogen fuses with itself. This makes the stars grow dozens of times bigger than they were before. In the process, they get cooler and more red. Astronomers say that Betelgeuse is very big. Its outer atmosphere is made of hot gas that would reach far enough to cover even Jupiter if it were in the middle of our solar system. Betelgeuse is not a smooth ball of plasma. Instead, it is a lumpy clump of hot gas bubbles covered in dust clouds that have burped out. This makes it hard to figure out how wide it really is. Finding the star's diameter is hard, but knowing how long Betelgeuse has left to live depends on its size. In a new study that has caused a lot of debate, astronomers led by Hideyuki Seo from Tohoku University in Japan say that Betelgeuse is bigger than most experts think. Betelgeuse is known to pulse, grow, shrink, dim, and shine all the time, so this might be possible. Betelgeuse's brightness changes a lot, and it does this every 420 days. Astronomers think that this brightening is caused by the fundamental mode, which is the periodic expansion of the star's envelope or roughly spherical outer area. There are, however, other strange things that happen often with Betelgeuse that scientists think are caused by more turbulent processes inside the dying star. One of these other changes happens every 2,200 days, and scientists don't know why. The group led by Seo suggested that this 2,200-day oscillation might be Betelgeuse's main pulsation mode, and the 420-day light change might be a secondary quirk. Seo said he doesn't know for sure how much carbon is still there, but based on models of evolution, carbon starvation should happen in less than 300 years. After the carbon runs out, stronger elements would probably fuse together in a few tens of years. The core would then fall apart, and a stellar explosion would happen. That would be really cool for people who like to watch the sky. The last time a star close by went supernova was 16,004. Every day, stars explode somewhere in the sky, but most of them are too far away to see without very large telescopes. But will the blast from Betelgeuse reach Earth? So what will happen? Even though the event would be a stunning astronomical show, it is important to know what could happen if a supernova happened close by. Supernovae are very powerful events that release huge amounts of energy. As the energy moves through space, it quickly fades away. However, the energy from Betelgeuse's supernova will have been greatly reduced by the time it gets to Earth. Scientists think that even a supernova that happened within 25 light-years of Earth would not directly harm it. Gamma rays are one type of energy that supernovae give off. Gamma-ray bursts, GRBs, are very energetic releases that can happen during some supernovae. A GRB would have to be pointed right at Earth, though, for it to have a big effect on our planet. The chances of a direct hit from Betelgeuse's supernova are very small. It's not likely that Betelgeuse's supernova will hurt life on Earth directly, but it might have some effects on the atmosphere. A burst of ultraviolet radiation would be sent into the air by the blast. This could temporarily lower the ozone layer. Studies, on the other hand, show that the ozone depletion that would happen would be small and short-lived, causing only small environmental risks. Not long ago, it was said that if Betelgeuse went supernova, it would probably be so bright that people on Earth could see it. The blast might have been as bright as a full moon and would have been a beautiful sight at night. Astronomers and people who just like to look at the stars would have a one-of-a-kind chance to see this amazing event. Scientists have said that Betelgeuse's ultimate supernova would be an interesting cosmic event, but it's not likely to have a direct effect on Earth. The gamma-ray burst is 640 light-years away, so it probably won't have much of an effect because the energy is spread out over such a large area and the stars aren't in the right place for it to hit us. We can instead look forward to seeing the beauty of a close supernova and savoring the vastness of the universe from a safe distance. Are you still not sure? Come with me as I look at other supernovae in history to help me understand this better. Astronomers, both professional and private, have found several hundred supernovae every year since 2000. In 2007, they found 572. In 2008, 261. In 2009, 390. And in 2013, 231 of them. A supernova is when a star explodes with a lot of light. It can happen when a white dwarf is set off into runaway nuclear fusion or when a huge star is nearing the end of its life cycle. Either the first object, known as the progenitor, falls apart into a neutron star or black hole, or it is destroyed and turns into a scattered nebula. A supernova can have a visual brightness peak that is about the same as a whole galaxy. After a few weeks or months, this brightness starts to fade. As a matter of fact, the most recent supernova that you could see with your own eyes was SN 1987A. It was the explosion of a blue supergiant star in the Large Magellanic Cloud, an extension of the Milky Way. Theoretical studies have shown that most supernovae are caused by one of two main events: the quick start of nuclear fusion in a white dwarf or the sudden collapse of the core of a massive star due to gravity. Supernovae have been studied in great detail by astronomers and space telescopes like NASA's Hubble and Spitzer, but the James Webb Space Telescope is now the best and gives us the clearest pictures of famous supernovae. Let's look at some of the amazing things that this technology has made possible. By looking at water vapor in protoplanetary disks with NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, scientists recently made a big step forward in understanding how planets are formed. The Webb telescope proved a physical process in which solids covered in ice drift from the farthest reaches of the universe. Even more interesting, scientists have used NASA telescopes to find the farthest black hole that has been seen in X-rays so far, with a mass about the same as its host galaxy. This black hole is in a stage of growth that has never been seen before. Scientists found the sign of a growing black hole just 470 million years after the Big Bang by putting together data from NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory and NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. This finding might help us understand how some of the universe's first giant black holes came to be. People say that the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is the most powerful telescope ever made. It has also found planets about the size of Jupiter that are floating in space and not linked to any star. The JWST found about 40 pairs of these objects while it was looking at the Orion Nebula. They are known as Jupiter mass binary objects, or jumbos. These things are too small to be stars, but they also don't fit the usual description of a planet because they're not orbiting a parent star. As of now, scientists are still trying to figure out what these strange objects are. You might also find it interesting that the Phantom Galaxy is hard to see at night, but its brightness can be seen clearly, especially when Webb takes pictures of it in infrared. The galaxy, which is also known as M74, has a perfect spiral shape and is filled with stars. Hubble's optical image of it shows arms stretching outward from a bright center, But a new web picture shows structures that look like fibers made of dust and gas that give off heat and are pointing out from the bright center. The color of the center is a bright electric blue. This new picture shows star-forming areas spread out along the spiral arms of the galaxy in infrared light. Optical and infrared studies of the galaxy are shown in a stunning composite image made up of pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope and the Webb Space Telescope. The European Space Agency said that adding Webb observations with longer wavelengths will make it possible for astronomers to find places in galaxies where stars are being born, accurately measure the masses and ages of star clusters, and learn more about the small particles of dust that are floating around in space between the stars. Some people have thought, though, that supernovae may have a religious meaning or link after looking into them in great detail and comparing different sources. But do these things happening in the sky have anything to do with religion? Do they go together? Astronomy and religion have been linked since prehistoric times, and their relationships are like two sides of the same coin. Astronomy has always been a popular and important part of faith and mythology. Cosmology and astronomy are both parts of many religions and nations around the world. They have also been linked for a long time, especially in the early days of astronomy. Astronomical bodies were worshipped by many ancient cultures, as shown by artifacts found in their homes during the Stone and Bronze Ages. Northern European amulets and stone walls show constellations and arrangements of stars that match where they were in the past, especially circumpolar constellations. These are from up to 30,000 to 40,000 years ago. In many old faiths, the stars that circle the northern hemisphere were linked to death, darkness, and the afterlife. The Aztecs thought that Tezcatlipoca was linked to the northern stars. In China, there was a shrine for the god of the North Star. People may have worshipped the northern stars as a way to keep track of time, since the positions of the stars could tell them what season it was. As farming got better, people had to keep better track of the positions of the sun, moon, and planets because they had to in order to keep correct time. This led to their worship because they were so important to survival. In the old Egyptian calendar, watching the heliacal rise of a star helped them figure out when the Nile would flood every year. In fact, astrology grew out of the idea that there was a strong link between what happened on Earth and what happened in the stars. Astrology is a way to guess what will happen in everyday life. It is based on the idea that the things in space, especially the planets and stars, can affect or predict changes in the world below through the random arrangements they make, which are called constellations. Followers think that knowing how the planets and stars affect life on Earth lets them see into the future and change the fates of people, groups, and countries. Astrology has been thought of as a science for a long time, but many people today think it goes against current Western scientific findings and theories. The Greek astronomer Anaxagoras was the first person known to have had a disagreement with religious tradition about astronomy. He was arrested because he thought that the heavenly bodies formed through evolution and that the sun was a big burning rock instead of the god Helios. He was charged with going against accepted religious views. Even though he was found not guilty, he had to leave. As science grew during the Renaissance, Christian orthodoxy fought against the scientific community's non-religious views. Galileo Galilei's trial by the Inquisition for heresy was the most well-known of these kinds of fights, but a lot of astronomers were also very religious, and they tried to find a way to combine their views with the new things they learned after the telescope was invented. Since technology and scientific discoveries have been made, most people believe it is important to use the resources we have to stop natural disasters that could change the direction of history forever. We should talk about why it's important. Being prepared means that people in a community are aware of the natural dangers and risks they face and are taking steps to make their community better prepared to deal with and recover from disasters. Natural disasters can happen quickly, and it could take years or even decades to rebuild and heal. As an example, earthquakes happen quickly, strongly, and without notice. Finding possible risks and making plans can lower the chances of getting hurt badly or dying in an earthquake. Even though we don't know when the next big earthquake will happen, we can get ready for it now and lessen its effects. For all other natural tragedies, you need to be just as ready. Getting ready means making a plan. Even though anything could happen, based on what we saw in this movie, supernovae can have terrible effects on people. Reports say that there is no way for life to live on the surface of a planet where a supernova is happening. If a habitable world orbited Betelgeuse, at least 4 miles of its surface would be vaporized into space. In the worst case, An icy world the size of Earth with an ocean below the surface could lose half of its diameter. But a world in the habitable zone that orbits Betelgeuse might be able to stay alive, although there are some things that could go wrong. The crust of the world needs to be thick enough so that people can dig deep enough. Also, the world shouldn't be hit by a strong neutrino burst because that would make people's bodies too hot and destroy all electronics. Besides that, the planet has to be lucky enough to fit into a hole in the plasma wind that forms after the star's death. Settlers have to hide for decades or even centuries because the nebula can give off radiation that is deadly even after short exposures. Gamma-ray bursts can still be deadly from a neutron star that is left over from a star, and even black holes can make dangerous radiation in their accretion disks. The surroundings after a supernova would make it hard to go on a rescue mission. Also, it would be very hard, if not impossible, to find possible survivors who are buried deep inside the crust because there would be no signs of the original landscape. But since Betelgeuse is so far away, such a tragedy is not likely to happen to us. Our beautiful planet is not in danger from the pollution. Instead, it adds to the background radiation, which helps our satellites and space telescopes work better and gives scientists a lot of information about how the universe works at very high energies. Our world is here because stars like Betelgeuse died a long time ago before our solar system formed. This is why there are no supernovae around today.